Howdy howdy, this video is all about making buttons in the wild. So not just relying on a builder, but building your buttons from scratch and understanding what's required to do it. So there's three parts I find to making a button. The first part is a battle against the browsers. So disabling user agent styles. So user agent styles is a name for browsers like Firefox, Chrome, Safari. The second step is deciding, okay, what is every button going to need? Okay. And then we're going to make a class for that. And that class is called button. So this applies to all buttons. And then the last part, and the button that I'm referring to, by the way, is this one right here. These are all code for that. The last part is what is the code that's particular to just this kind of button? Okay. So the first part, disabling user agent styles. So if you're going to code something, unfortunately, it's not just as easy as, okay, you write the code here and then it displays just the way you thought in the browser, in Firefox and Chrome and Safari. Actually, Chrome, Safari, Firefox, they have their own style sheets. And when they see a button, they're going to say, oh, let's add all these styles to that button. So what we have to do is we have to disable just the ones that we need to disable the button. That's not to say we should delete the whole user agent style sheet, because there's other important things for accessibility in there. So we have to be like surgeons and just like go in and say, okay, just turn these little things off, all right? So we get a clean slate. The second part is, now that we have the clean slate, we want to decide, okay, what is every button gonna have? So I want every button to have this kind of focus. So that means like if someone's tabbing through a website and they tab on here, there's a red line that appears around it. And I also want to make sure that these things are basically, so cursor, so I get this pointer thing here. Every time I have a button, I'm going to want that pointer. Border style, this is kind of disabling things similar to user agent styles, but they might be like from a builder that's like forcing some kind of style that I don't want. So I just know that every button's going to have this stuff. So first we disable the agent styles, then we decide what class. So this is the button class. So if this button class is on a button, all buttons with that class are going to have this stuff there. And we know that every button's going to need that. Now, the next thing is like, okay, what are the styles that are particular to just this button? And then we're going to write those, okay? So first we have the button style, just this is how it looks. And then we have a little effect here. So this is hover. When I hover over it, it changes colors right there. And what governs that is this transition. So the transition kind of has to do with animation. So this is the CSS for just this little button here. I'm just going to show you real quick the HTML for the button, which is right here. So this is the button in HTML. So we have the first class is the specific styles to just this button. And then this second class here is the universal button styles. So like every single button is going to get this style here. And the reason we have two instead of one is we don't want to keep repeating ourselves. Like if we know that a button is always going to have these styles, we don't want to have to repeat them each time in one of these classes. And there's going to be different buttons as well. So if you're going to have different buttons, okay, maybe if you just have one button, you can keep it all in here. But if you're going to have multiple buttons, which pretty much every website does, you're going to have duplicate code unless you have this separate class that has styles for buttons of every kind. Got it? So that's how we keep our code wet, right? Pardon me. That's how we keep our code dry. Don't repeat yourself. Instead of wet, write everything twice. Okay. I hope you've learned something great about buttons today. Cheers.